Rama Hare Jaya Tulsi Maharani Jaya Vrinda Devi Tulsi Maharani Jaya Vrinda Devi Jaya Vrinde Jaya Vrinde Jaya Vrinde Jaya Vrinde
Five.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Anandam Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Sodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Sodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanacharya Munatira Vanacharya Munatira Vanacharya Munatira Chari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallava Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallava Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallava Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallava Girivardhari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Odanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Ya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pavrikacharya Satara Sada Shishri Manas Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sika Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Vaiti Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinda Ki Jai Jai Radha Krishna Govoka Banashai Mukunda Radha Kunda Giri Guruni Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 56, and we'll be reading verses 14, 15, and 16. We'll do 14 responsively. Prasenam sahayam hatva manimachidya keshari giram vishan jambavata nihato manim ichyata prasenam sahayam hatva Mainim achidya keshari Giram vishanjabhavata Nihato manim ichyata Prasenam sahayam hatva Manim achidya keshari Girim vishanjabhavata Nihato manim ichyata Prasenam sahayam hatva Manim achidya keshari Yirim vitam vata Niyato manim ichyata Yasenam mayam hatva Niyageshari Yirim vishanjabhavata Niyato manim ichyata Asena mayam hatva Manimachidya keshari Vishandavata Niyato manim ichyata Prasenam sahayam hatva Manim achidya keshari Yirim vishanjabhavata Niyato manim ichyata Prasenam Prasena Sa along with Hayam his horse Hatva killing Manim the jewel Achidya seizing Keshari a lion Girim a cave in a mountain Vishan entering Jambavata by Jambavan the king of the bears Nihata killed Manim the jewel Ichyata who wanted translation by Srila Prabhupada's disciples a lion killed Prasena and his horse and took the jewel but when the lion entered a mountain cave he was killed by Jambavan who wanted the jewel. Please repeat. A lion killed Prasena and his horse and took the jewel. But when the lion entered a mountain cave, he was killed by Jambavan, who wanted the jewel. There's some short tikas by the Goswamis. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, killing Prasena, the lion took the jewel. Jiva Goswami writes, the lion killed Prasena because violence was its nature. It took the jewel because it was most valuable. Such actions of collecting curious items are seen in mice and other animals. Thought that was interesting. Sanatana Goswami says the lion killed Prasenna, but because it was very strong and amazing. Jambavan killed the lion, tearing him apart with his nails. Text number 15. Sopi chakre kumarasya manim kridana kambile apashyan brataram brata satrajit parya tapyata. Within the cave, Jambavan let his young son have the Chaimantaka jewel as a toy to play with. Meanwhile, Satrajit, not seeing his brother return, became deeply troubled. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, those people who were of similar evil nature heard this and whispered about it to each other, Ajapan. Jiva Goswami writes, the gem served as a toy for Jambavan's son who was in the cave. Text number 16. Praya Krishnena nihato mani grivo vanam gata brata mameti tachrutva karne japanjana. He said, this is Satrajit, Krishna probably killed my brother who went to the forest wearing the jewel on his neck. The general populace heard this accusation and began whispering it in one another's ears. The rumor begins. Jiva Goswami writes, Praya probably indicates that he speculated in this way because though Krishna had great power, he had asked for the gem but had been refused. Satrajit's followers, not everyone in Dwarka, spread gossip, since in the first canto the inhabitants are described as having great devotion to Krishna. So not everybody was on this, but there was an element of envy. As a brother, Satrajit, this is Sanatana Goswami, as a brother, Satrajit had great affection for Prasenna. Not seeing him, he lamented. He assumed Krishna took it because he was the Lord or because he had asked for it. He must have killed him by cutting off his head. His followers in the city began to speak rumors. Nama Om Vishnu Badaya Krishna Bastaya Bhutale Shumati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitanamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Bacharni Nirasesa Shunyavadi Praschadeshtarni Vanchakalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vevacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Everybody has their own perception of reality, and it isn't always right. In fact, in most cases, it is covered illusion or delusion. Or, in the case of an animal, it's just mode of ignorance. So here we have three examples of, if we go back to Prasenna, we'll call it four. But four examples of persons who have this Chaimataka or see this Chaimataka jewel, which glows so brightly that Satrajit was mistaken for the sun god by the common people of Dwarka, produced 170 pounds of gold a day. God knows how much money that is now. Wherever it was, there would be no famine, pestilence, problems arising from the material nature. Of course, it had to be worshipped properly, or else it became a curse. So in the last verse that was covered, actually the very short purport by Prabhupada's disciples said that this was the beginning of it. Satyajit's refusal to give Krishna the Chamataka jewel, which would be given to then, Krishna was going to give it to Ugrasena, was the beginning of a series of very unfortunate events. So, if the jewel had been given to Krishna and then given to Ugrasena, it would have been producing 170 pounds of gold a day, which is a lot, every day, day in, day out. And it would have provided Dwarka with immunity from all material inebrities, calamities. Of course, since Krishna was there wasn't really going to be any calamity anyway. But when Satyajit kept it because he was so attached, he began this series of problems. So Satyajit, he won't give it to Krishna, but he will give it to Prasenna, his brother, who, like Satyajit, thinks it's really great to wear it around his neck because it makes him look very regal and powerful. Satyajit goes to the forest. That regal, powerful nature attracts a lion. The lion then kills Prasenna. The lion, he's an animal. He has no idea what the value of this jewel is. He just takes it because, like as Jiva Goswami said, mice and other animals that like to take little things. A cat will play with a little piece of straw, but if you throw down a $25,000 a Tiffany gold ring, he'll play with it just the same. But he won't know what it's worth. It's just to play with. So the lion is just playing around. And so the lion's playing around with this jewel, has no idea what the jewel is, goes into a cave, and then Jambavan, who is notably the king of the bears. Now, he's not an ordinary bear, but he is the king of the bears. So he kills the lion. But what does he think of the jewel? Well, I'll give it to my son as a plaything. So even he has no idea really ultimately what this worth of this jewel is. It's just something, wow, this is a great toy for my boy. In the meantime, Satyajit is now really worried because Prasenna doesn't show up like he should, and immediately he uses his imperfect senses and mind to conclude that, well, if Prasenna's not here, guess who must have killed him? Must be Krishna. And this goes on all the time. This is part of our imperfect. We have 4 defects, and these 4 defects they lead us to like making these kind of ridiculous conclusions based upon I must be Prasenna. Why? Well, because I just figured it out. What's the evidence? It's Krishna, because who else would have taken it? And then that begins rumors among the malcontents in Dwarka. Somehow or other, Satyajit had some followers, and they were all disturbed. So we see here just illusion after illusion after illusion. No one really realizes here, the lion, Jambavan, Prasenna, Satyajit, no one really realizes the real value of this jewel, which ultimately the value is in giving it to Krishna. So really, this is like could be seen as an analogy for the human body. This human body is given to us as a form of, it's a jewel, so to speak. Because all other forms of life, the animal forms of life especially, they're trapped in this material world and they're not going to be able to figure out why they're here or end their suffering. They're just going to go through the suffering. And there may be some enjoyment flickering here and there. And the demigods are just, living it up because because in a previous life they had somehow or other wanted to have this sort of life of total material sense gratification, so they got it. but they're not going to go anywhere other than down after their stay in this heavenly planets. So this human form of life is a jewel. Now, who recognizes the jewel? How it is so valuable? This is a problem because almost no one recognizes the real value of human life. I was thinking about this, and I turned to the Nectar of Instruction, Upadesh Amrita, and it's verse number 10. And Rupa Goswami, he writes about what the value of human life is and who does or doesn't understand. So I'll read the translation, and I'll speak a little bit about the purport in places. So Rupa Goswami writes, in the Shastra it is said that of all types of fruitive workers, he who is advanced in knowledge of the higher values of life is favored by the Supreme Lord Hari. Out of many such people who are advanced in knowledge, jnanis, one who is practically liberated by virtue of his knowledge may take to devotional service. He is superior to the others. However, one who has actually attained prem, pure love of Krishna, is superior to him. Now we go into deeper. The gopis are exalted above all the advanced devotees because they are always totally dependent upon Sri Krishna, the transcendental cowherd boy. Among the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the most dear to Krishna. Her Kund lake is as profoundly dear to Lord Krishna as this most beloved of the gopis. Who then will not reside at Radhakund and in a spiritual body, surcharged with ecstatic devotional feelings, render loving service to the divine couple Shri Shri Radha Govinda, who perform their Asta Kalila Leela, their eternal eightfold daily pastimes. Indeed, those who execute devotional service on the banks of Radhakund are the most fortunate people in the universe. Well, the question is, who then will not reside in Radhakund, is answered actually by Prabhupada in the purport and alluded to earlier. Who then won't? Those who don't want to have Krishna. Those who think the jewel is meant for themselves. Those who think the jewel is a toy, or those who think the jewel is a prestige instrument, or those who think this jewel of human life is whatever it is. They don't get it. We didn't get it. I really don't get it, but at least I'm here in the room here with devotees who are saintly association, and I'm praying to Prabhupada that somehow or other I may get it one day. But the point being is that Prabhupada alludes to this in the purport. He says, at the present moment, almost everyone is engaged in some kind of fruitive activity. Those who are desirous of gaining material profits by working are called karmis or fruitive workers. Then he goes on to describe two kinds of karmis, the karmi and the vikarmi. The karmi, at least, understands that you got to follow some rules and regulations. You got to lead a good life, clean life. You can't just be an animal. Now, we know there's Vedic rules and regulations, but let's move it up to the 21st century. Everybody's in ignorance. There are Western religionists who know that you got to live a clean life. So they know, you have to regulate your sex desire. You shouldn't use intoxications, at least not a lot. You should, be kind and considerate, forgive others. Gambling, it's really bad. I wish they don't get the meat-eating part because they don't know that they're not their bodies, and that's a deeper thing I won't get into right now. So they know they should live a certain way. And what do they want? They want to go to heaven. And in heaven, they don't ever talk about God. They talk about Uncle Larry and Aunt Sally and their grandma, and maybe some of them even think about their pet dog. They're thinking about living forever, a life like we have here, but without toothaches, and without bills, and without taxes, and without bad politics, and just living a life where they can just enjoy forever as they have been doing this. And this is a very low concept. And they may get that somehow, maybe. But mostly, everybody's a vikarmi now, so Prabhupada describes that as just materialists who work hard like dogs and hogs. He's quoting this verse from the Bhagavatam 5.5.4. Simply for sense gratification are actually mad. They simply perform all kinds of abominable activities simply for sense gratification. Materialistic activities are not at all worthy of an intelligent man, for as a result of such activities, one gets a material body which is full of misery. So mostly everybody's a vikarmi. And even the ones who want to try to follow rules and regulations, they don't really know what they are, so they're pretty much vikarmis too. But at least they kind of understand. But what's their goal? I want to go to some place where I can enjoy a materialistic life forever. But it's not forever. It's just a long time. Higher than that are jnanis. And the jnanis, or this kind of, they're the seekers, you know. They're the ones who are thinking, there's something other than this. I'm not this body. And in the modern age, they're the ones who end up going to different yoga societies and learning, you know, that, you don't, at the end of this life, it's not all over. And, you know, don't believe those fantastic stories of, you know, heaven. You know, they're not really real. It's all one. You become part of the energy. Or maybe while you're here, you want to learn something like, you know, levitation, or do something, you know, that's going to, wow, astral projection. And maybe you'll have omniscience and know everything. Wow, that's great. It's better than being, you know, a mudha. But it's not, it's still self-centered. And it's like, you know, looking at the jewel again in a certain self-centered way. It's not the purpose of the jewel. So the purpose of the jewel is to serve Krishna. And we have this jewel, but how to serve Krishna? It's elusive. In fact, you know, the verse, Bahunam Jamanam Ante Jnanamam Prapadyate Vasudevam Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sadurlabha, that says it's going to take a long time, many, many births. And then we'll finally, if we're in knowledge, we can take to devotional service, and it's rare. But we're fortunate because we've had a chance to meet a pure devotee. We've had a chance to hear the holy name. We've had a chance to taste prasadam. We've had a chance to have contact with a book of Prabhupada's. And in that way, Prabhupada says, after taking to devotional service under regulated principles, a person may come to the platform of spontaneous love of Godhead. And then we follow in the footsteps of great devotees. But it's still not, well, it's still like, let's read the end here. In this way, Rupa Goswami gradually concludes that Srimati Radharani is the most exalted devotee of Krishna, and that her Kund, Sri Radha Kund, is the most exalted place. And this is verified by a verse from the, which is quoted in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Just as Srimati Radharani is dear to the Supreme Lord Krishna, so her bathing place, Radha Kund, is equally dear to Krishna. Among all the devotees, she stands alone as supreme, as the Lord's most beloved. Therefore, Prabhupada writes, everyone interested in Krishna consciousness should ultimately take shelter of Radha Kund and execute devotional service there throughout one's life. This is Rupa Goswami's conclusion. Now, the fact is that with my mundane eyes, I don't see the exalted nature of Radha Kund. I mean, certainly because Krishna's kind to me to give me a chance to have a guru like Prabhupada, I can begin to understand. But the average person would come there and say, oh, this is just, it's ordinary. They don't see the, where, you know, for like a materialistic religionist, they want to see a huge building, like, you know, the Vatican. Or, you know, certain religions like, well, I'll name them, the Mormons, they like to build these really big, you know, tabernacles and, you know, God. And it's nice. But look at the Kund. But that's Krishna's sweet, loving, pastoral nature with Radharani, which is beyond the big stuff. It's the real mood of pure devotion. So how do we get there? What is a device by which we can actually become purified to make the advancement that we need to make to actually become wholly Krishna conscious? We heard about Govardhan Puja the last couple of days, and we know that when Nanda Maharaj was going to do the sacrifice to Indra, Krishna intervened and through speaking lots of philosophy, some of it atheistic, got them to understand, don't worship the demigods, you need to worship Govardhan Hill. And then he revealed to them that he was Govardhan Hill and Govardhan Hill is him. So therefore, that was their entrance. I mean, of course, they're always there, but I mean, that was Krishna coming to them. Here it is. This is reality. So how do we get there? Well, in this day and age, it's not going to be possible unless, of course, we chant the holy name. And I'm reading here from a lecture that Prabhupada gave in 1974 in Hyderabad. And he writes, he speaks, when we actually develop our love for God, that is real religion. That is first-class religion. Savai pumsam paro dharma. It doesn't matter the result. Palena parichiyate. Just like a businessman. It doesn't matter what business he is doing. If he has got some money, then we say he is a successful businessman. It doesn't matter whether he is in this business or that business. Simply, it doesn't matter what kind of religion you are following. If your love for God is enhanced, if you understand what God is, if you understand what your relationship with God is, and if you understand what is the end of life, what is the end of or the object of human life, then your life is successful. So Prabhupada's saying it doesn't matter what religion you're in. But practically speaking, we know that most people are going to be interested in heaven or mystic powers or merging or whatever. Because there's no way to get this knowledge in this age of Kali. I mean, you can't make that final jump. One has faith, but you got to have something that takes us to the understanding that to give Krishna our life is the goal. Therefore, it is stated here, Savai Pumsa, Paro Dharma, Ito Bhaktir Hoksaje. Hoksaje, this is verse 126 he's lecturing on. Hoksaje, the Supreme Lord cannot be seen by these eyes. He cannot be understood by these eyes. Atashri Krishna Namadi, Na Bhaved Grayam Indriya. Indriya, our present senses are blunt senses. By these senses, we cannot understand what is the meaning of the Hare Krishna mantra. But it is so powerful, if you go on chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, even without understanding, you will be purified, and one day you will understand. So no one understands. But if one day we keep chanting, we will understand. How important it is to hear the mantra. How important it is to give the mantra. Or prasadam, or a book, something that brings people in contact with Krishna. This is our movement. Otherwise, how these European Americans, they never heard of what is Krishna, but why have they left everything? They are young boys, young girls. They could enjoy life in their country very nicely there. But the name is so powerful. I started this movement simply by chanting this Hare Krishna. Still, we are going on like that. So this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is so powerful. You'll understand it or do not understand it. If you go on chanting regularly, one day you will come to the platform. You will clearly understand what is the meaning of God. This is the Hare Krishna movement. This is the Krishna consciousness movement. How important it is. And it doesn't take much to make a difference. Two stories come to mind. These two stories do not indicate a person who has become a pure devotee, but it indicates the power of association, the power of the holy name, the power of prasadam, to change a person's life to a point where they at least understand there's something greater than this other stuff, going to heaven or merging or whatever. One story is a friend of ours who's now in his 60s. He was 15 years old, living in suburban Philadelphia around 1975. And he went on to the Radha Damodar bus with Vishnu John and Tamal Krishna, just because he was a curious teenager. Saw the deities, took some prasadam, heard the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, and he, to this day, he is to some extent attached to Krishna consciousness. And this fellow's nature is to be like, he's a little bit like, Hulk Hogan, like the huge guy, kind of like masculine, he works in a factory. Not the kind of person who would ever be interested. In fact, he always tells us he's working around people he can't even talk about anything because they all have the MAGA hats on and things like that. So, but he's completely beyond that, and he has an understanding that even though he can't really get there, that Krishna consciousness is the highest thing. He always says, "Every time I see you, you're always happy." And then another guy who we were on Harinam one day, in his 70s, comes over and says, "Wow, it's great that you're still doing this. I've lived in Chapel Hill all my life, and back in 1975, you guys had a bus parked right in front of my house. I let you connect up to the water and use my electricity. And, those guys were on there chanting all the time. And, I went on the bus and they gave me food and things like this." And he goes, "Wow, it was really wonderful." He said, I just got completely off, my life went this way and that way, but it's really great to see that you're still doing this." So we gave him a book, and he was really appreciative. And, the fact is, it was sort of like a bookend. He was like 22, and now he's like 72. And maybe he had some thought of Krishna in between. But as soon as he saw us that day, somehow or other, the bell went off, and he remembered, I saw the deities. He met Tamal Krishna Maharaj and Vishnu John Swami. It's like, this is how powerful it is. They don't become devotees this life. They're devotees in the next life. They see through the whole thing somehow at one level. How much more for us who've been given the opportunity to get initiated and take second initiation and associate with devotees and hear the pastimes of Krishna. This is the power of Prabhupada. Tomorrow's his disappearance day. He never disappears. He's always here. His movement is giving us life, and we can give other people life by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvandam Maravindanalaya Taksham Bhagavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Akom Vidamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Andani Asa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Lasyanti Panti Kayanti Tiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam
They're all
Tamaham Bhajami Govindam
this anyway.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
I guess.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Nam Ishwaram Sachit Anandarupam the Satkundalam Kokule Rajamanham Yasonabeo Luka Ladnavamanam Paramrishtamat Yantato Rujagopya Rudantamu Purnetra Yumam Rijandam Karambojajuk Mena Satankanedram Moshashakam Bhatri Rekankakanta Sitagrivandam Odaram Bhakti Badam Itidrik swalila bir anandu kunde swakocham ni madjantam akyapayantam. Tade sita Yesu Bhakti Jata Punak Prema Tas Tam Shatamriti Vande. Varam Deva Mokshana Mokshavatim Vaha Nachanya Vreneham Vareshadapiha. Idam Teva Purnata Gopala Bala Sadame Manas Yavi Rastam Gimanjoy. Idante Mukambo Jam Atyanjan Nilai Vritam Kuntalai Snigja Raktai Shagoya. Moschamidam Bimba Rakta Dharame Manasami Rastam Alam Lakshalabai. Namo Deva Damodar Ananta Vishnu Prasila Prapo Dukkha Jalabdi Magnam Radhanta Vishnu Prasila Prapo Dukkha Kripa Dristi Restati Dinamatano Grahaneshama Magyame Yakshi Drisha. Kuveratma Jobata Muchaiva Yadvad Twayamuchitao Bhakti Ajo Krito Chao. Tata Prema Bhaktim Swa Kame Priyacha Namokshe Grahome Sti Damodareya. Namaste stu Domne Sporadipti Domne Twati Oda Rayatha Vishvasha Domne Namo Radhikaya Dvadya Priyaya Namo Natali Laya Devaya Tuyam Namo Ishwaram Satchit Ananda Rupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yasodabe Yolukalad Davamanam Paramrishtamat Yantato Druchikopya Jayarad Hat Damudana Radha Damudana Dragade Jayarad Hat Damudana Rad Hat Damudana Dragade Radha Golokinana Radha Golokinana Radha Jaya Radha Golokinana Radha Golokinana Radha Jayaradne, Jayaradhe, Jayaradhe, Jayaragane. Jayaradhe, Jayaradhe, Jayaradne. Jayaragane Jayaradhe Jayasri Ragade Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravidikacharya Sutela Satishi Shimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Chalana the Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Veda Gadadha, Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath. Shai Makunda, Radhakunda, Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavanam Ki Jai, Maturanam Ki Jai, Jagadaswami Ki Jai, Munamai Ki Jai, Srimati Lasini Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrindi Ki Jai, Gaur Premananda, Hari Hari Bol. All glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is to Shri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shimadi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Jani Shunyavadi Paschatya Deja Tarani, to the Supreme Controller who possesses an eternal form of blissful knowledge, whose glistening earrings swing to and fro, who manifested himself in Gokula, who stole the butter that the gopis kept hanging from the rafters of their storerooms, and who then quickly jumped up and ran in retreat in fear of Mother Yashoda, but was ultimately caught. To that Supreme Lord Sri Damodar I offer my humble obeisances. Upon seeing his mother's whipping stick, he cried and rubbed his eyes again and again with his two lotus hands. His eyes were fearful, and his breathing quick, and his mother Yashoda bound his belly with ropes. He shivered in fright, and his pearl necklace shook. To the Supreme Lord Sri Damodar, who was bound by his devotees' love, I offer my humble obeisances. Those super excellent pastimes of Lord Krishna's babyhood drowned the inhabitants of Gokula in pools of ecstasy. To the devotees who were attracted only to his majestic aspect of Narayan and Vaikuntha, the Lord herein reveals, I am conquered and overwhelmed by pure loving devotion. To the Supreme Lord Damodar, my obeisances hundreds and hundreds of times. O Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for liberation, nor eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon. My only prayer is that your childhood pastimes may constantly appear in my mind. O Lord, I do not even want to know your feature of Paramatma. I simply wish that your childhood pastimes may ever be enacted in my heart. O Lord, and like due to Mother Yashoda's kisses, what more can I describe than this? Millions of opulences are of no use to me, but may this vision constantly remain in my mind. O unlimited Vishnu, O Master, O Lord, be pleased upon me. I am drowning in an ocean of sorrow, and am almost like a dead man. Please shower the rain of mercy upon me, uplift me and protect me with your nectarian vision. O Lord Damodar, in your form as a baby, Mother Yashoda bound you to a grinding stone with a rope for tying cows. You then freed the sons of Kuvera, Manigriva, and Nalakuvara, who were cursed to stand as trees, and you gave them the chance to become your devotees. Please bless me in the same way. I have no desire for liberation into your effulgence. O Lord, the entire universe was created by Lord Brahma, who was born from your abdomen, which was bound with a rope by Mother Yashoda. To this rope I offer my humble obeisances. I offer my obeisances to your most beloved Srimati Radharani and to your unlimited pastimes, Lord Damodar Ki Jai.
Jai. Chaito Darpanam Arjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Kairavya Chandraranam Vijavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipanam Paranam Rita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahudani Jasarva